operate in truth, right? Operate in truth. Tell the truth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gator Truth Florida Football Podcast. I'm Daniel, and on this episode, we're going to take a look back at the Gators' 23-17 loss in Knoxville this past Saturday night to the Tennessee Volunteers. I will say the trip to Tennessee, for me, it was a fun one, kind of a weird turnaround, though, due to the hurricane. Didn't get to fly out till Saturday morning and didn't get to campus until a little bit later than intended, but still had a great time. Got to spend time on the Vol Navy with my friend Skylar from the Vol Fanatic show. So if you find yourself wanting to see what the Vols feel about this, and trust me, it's not all elation, check out Vol Fanatic show. But yeah, got to spend time with him on one of the member boats of the Vol Navy, and it was a good time had by all. Skylar was telling myself and Marcus, who you may know from Twitter, was telling us how he thought that we're going to win, and Marcus couldn't believe it. He's like, what Florida team have you been watching? And of course, we go into the game, and sure enough, it is a game that goes in overtime. Tennessee wins in overtime. Lots of chances for the Gators, and I think that's what really is the frustrating part before we get into the offense and defense, is that the Gators had so many opportunities in the first half where they could have blown the game open, maybe gone into halftime instead of 3-0. Definitely a chance where that could have been 17-0, if not perhaps a little higher, just depending on how things played out. It was a quicker game in that, with lots of running, with sacks, time seemed to move forward, at least in the first half, really fast, and a lot less possessions per team. But with that said, getting into a few of the stats, which, I like to look at from time to time, I do want to say that keeping the passing offense for the game, and of course these stats include overtime, keeping Nico Iamaleava to 6.5 yards per attempt, 169 yards, 60-26. So that's less than 66% at least, with 0 touchdowns, 1 INT. That is a great night. QBR for Nico was 17.5. So again, very good job by this Gators defense against the passing game. Dylan Sampson, who I was concerned about, 27 carries, 112 yards, only 4.1 yards per carry, but 3 touchdowns for the Vols. That 27 carries for 112 yards doesn't seem that great, but when you consider that 4.1 yards per carry for a guy who's averaging a lot more and doing a lot of damage, that is still good for this team. And again, Vols were pretty good coming into the game at rushing. They were, of course, averaging 266. Sorry, my numbers down here were a little bit messed up. And we held them to 143. So again, great job by the Gators defense, giving us a chance. At times, definitely the offense let us down. And we'll get, of course, more into that. But it was frustrating. Of course, you see the Gators get the ball off of a fumble, then go 5 plays and punt, which when you consider the first 2 plays and then first downs, and then you go 3 and out, or then the field goal, on that second drive where we're at a 3rd and 1 and everyone knows that we're running it up the middle, and this may impact a play call later I'm going to complain about, but you have the chance to get that first down, potentially get more points. And of course we kick a field goal, not the worst thing. And then the next drive ends in downs. And then the next drive we fumble on the goal line. And it was a lot of times we could not get out of our way, in that first half. But again, chance to be up 17-0 at the half. If you're up 17-0 at the half, game's not over, but it's an entirely different feel. And so definitely frustration for the Tennessee game. I did say that if you would have told me we'd be up 3-0 or we'd be up by 3 at the half and I'd be frustrated, I would kind of laugh at you. But when there was a chance for it to be so much better, and of course it did come back to bite us, of course there's going to be frustration with that when you see we had it right there in front of us to have a better situation and we didn't take advantage of it. But before we get into the specifics of the offense, I do want to give a shout out to my friends at Alvarez Lawn Company. And Alvarez Lawn Company, if you are in the Central Florida area and you've got yard work that needs to be done, heck, if Hurricane Milton came and did some stuff that you need fixed, give my friends at Alvarez Lawn Company a call or even text them for a free quote at 407-490-2617. You can also email them at alvarezlawncompany@gmail.com. Once again, Alvarez Lawn Company, if you're in the Central Florida area, you can call or text them for a free quote at 407-490-2617. And also you can email them at alvarezlawncompany@gmail.com. And with that said, let's talk a little bit about the offense, get into a little bit more specifics. I know I talked about how the offense was a little bit frustrating for me. With that said, one thing in the preview said we probably need to get to 10 yards per attempt. We did not do that. Graham Mertz, 11 of 15, 125 yards, 8.3 yards per attempt. But led the QBs in QBR for both teams at 66.9. 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Did have that big fumble. And again, that's before getting hurt. With that said, Graham Mertz is done for the season and likely, well, not likely, he's out of eligibility. So for his college career, no matter what you want to say about Graham Mertz, you can't take away the heart the kid showed for Florida and the fact you could never doubt the effort he was given or giving for the team. And lots of respect from me for Graham Mertz. So hopefully he gets well soon, and hopefully we've not seen his last snap of football. But if you're going to go out, if your last snap is a touchdown pass in a rivalry game, that's not a bad last play, in your college career. Unfortunately, it was not the winning touchdown pass, but is what it is. I do have a video on the channel in our shorts where it shows that last touchdown pass. I say unfortunately, but I did not get Graham after that. But I did get the play on video from my vantage point. You can also find just the play anywhere. But if you want to see from the Gator section what that looked like, you can check it out on our YouTube page under the shorts. With that said, DJ Lagway, 9 of 17, 98 yards. So per completion, both he and Graham did average over 10 yards per completion, but not per attempt. And again, that's where some of the problems with Tennessee's defense could have potentially been exposed, and at times were, but just not enough. DJ Lagway, 1 touchdown, 1 costly interception. And I'll say this, he's a true freshman. Anyone expecting error-free play from him is expecting too much. However, DJ Lagway, also came through with a very big clutch touchdown pass there at the end of the game to get the game to overtime. So lots of good and bad from him. Montrell Johnson, 12 carries, 85 yards before getting injured, averaging 17.1 yards per carry. Definitely like that. And then for receiving, Kamara DK, 4 receptions, 76 yards, average of 19 yards per reception, and a touchdown. Oh, man. And that touchdown, of course, was a big one from DJ Lagway. And anyways, this offense, I've got to say, I think at times not put in great positions. I think that's really the frustration with the first half. And I think the first half is what lost the game for the Gators, just to be honest. I mean, you can talk about, well, you gave up 17 and you threw that pick in the second half. Okay, but I was listening to Josh Pate earlier, Josh Pate of 24/7. Check out his podcast if you have not. National guy, very fun show. And I will say, many times he's gone to bat almost out of the way for Billy Napier. And he even was saying, he was watching the game on the repeat. And he's like, how can Florida not score on this drive? He was really surprised because he knew what the halftime score was, and they didn't see us get the ball down to the 1 and fumble at the goal line, or see us have a drive where it's 4th and like 2-3 inches and somehow not get it. And I want to go through that. So first drive, we start moving, which is the second drive of the game. Really, we get, I believe that's after we get the pick, or no, we have a big punt return. My bad. Get the ball in Tennessee territory. And by the way, that's a good part to say. Defense again, holding Tennessee so that we got good field position on this. And we'll talk about defense a little bit more later. But anyways, you get the ball, you start marching it down, you get the ball 3rd and 1 at the Tennessee 20. We've talked on this show, I know other people have pointed out, if we're in pistol, we are going to run the ball more times than not. And how I don't like going into really tight sets if you're going to go in the middle, because that just brings extra guys in the box. Tennessee reads it for a handoff to ball, and it's a tackle for a loss of 4. Everyone knew it was coming, and that's putting a lot of pressure on an offensive line that honestly is a mixed bag. And I don't think that's the smartest thing you want to do. End up getting a field goal, that's okay. Well, next drive, they, again, Tennessee punts the ball. And Florida gets the ball. DJ Lagway, who has had overall in the last few games, great series. I mean, 290-plus yard drives against Mississippi State, drives the Gators for points at the end of the half against UCF. Second half, when the Gators didn't do much of anything, he didn't do much of anything. But this time, drives the Gators, again, set up for a 90-yard drive, moves the ball 72 yards. We end up with a 4th and 1 at the Tennessee 18. At this point, I'm saying to the people with me, and I'm even texting with my brother and my friend Austin, and I said, all right, try and quarterback sneak this, because I'm pretty sure at this point we had seen a sneak with Graham Mertz on the previous drive. On 3rd and 1, Graham Mertz had a sneak with 5:15 left in the first. But anyways, we had seen a sneak, so I'm like, okay, quarterback sneak, the most basic play. Let's see this with a, 6'3", 6'4" quarterback who's 240 pounds. And despite what someone tried to correct me and say he's 230, now he's 240 pounds. But anyways, that's neither here nor there, but very upset Florida fan in the bathrooms or in the line for the bathrooms at Neyland Stadium, who was quite adamant. And how dare I say 240? But either way, that's the experience of going to games. But anyways, so I'm like, okay, get under center. You've got a big quarterback. Do that same sneak. You get 4th and these few inches, because it's so close. And I'm like, alternatively, if you're going to go shotgun, run a QB run to the left side. So if you're going to do it, run behind the strongest side of your line, kind of get away from the weaker right side. Well, and I called it. I've got my buddy Ryan, who is part of Alvarez Lawn Company, is texting me later. He's like, I just got home from something. What did I miss? I go, well, we ran a veer option. Without getting into it, the specifics of what that is, it's what we ran on that 4th down play instead of running a quarterback sneak, instead of, maybe running DJ Lagway a little bit to the left or something that would make a little more sense. We run this option play where DJ Lagway either hands off to the jet sweep, which was Trey Wilson, or he runs forward. Billy Napier has said he made the right read. I haven't looked too much into the play, but I do know this. It was an easy fourth down you could have gotten. We did not. I will say, running wide to the wide side. Kind of happy about that, but again, situational. Player comes in, just gets the stop. Now, I know there's argument over the spot, or at least a few people have said it to me. But the point is, we don't get that first down when you could have literally just had a over 6 foot quarterback fall forward, get the first down because of that's how short you needed. But with that said, we didn't get that. Turn the ball over on downs. And again, we are in the red zone, don't get points. Next drive, get down to the 1. Graham Mertz fumbles. Now, I think when they're reviewing it, I think they're reviewing it because we scored. Because even though I was looking right down the goal line, and I've got a picture of this, I didn't see the ball come out. So here I am thinking Graham Mertz has the ball like this, and it's in between his forearms. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he definitely reached across, and then he got pulled back after he reached across. No, he pulled back because the ball was out. It was a good fumble. And again, Florida now 2 straight drives to the red zone, no points. Well, as luck would have it, we get a pick, return it to the 26 with a minute 11 left. Now, this, in a way, might be the most frustrating. Playing time to go only 22 yards. So it's first and 10 at the 22. You have 1 minute, 11 seconds to go 20-something yards. There are teams, in 2-minute drills that have like a minute to go 70 yards for a field goal or a touchdown. And here we've got over a minute to go 20 yards. And, well, Florida gets a false start on first down, then pass incomplete, timeout after an incomplete. Clock's not running. We take a timeout. Why we have to do that, I don't know. Then Tennessee calls a timeout, and I'm looking right down the play-by-play. Then Graham Mertz throws a screen pass, and I'm pretty sure it was to the short side of the field. So, again, you have the extra defender of the sideline. Goes for 1 yard to the Tennessee 15. So, yeah. So I guess we actually had the ball. Sorry, I take this back. There's a Tennessee personal foul. Got it to the Tennessee 11 with a minute 11 seconds left. So then there's after the 2 timeouts, 1 yard gain. It's 3rd and 14 from the Tennessee 15. We get sacked. Okay, we're at the 25. We've got 20 seconds. Because right here, 19, well, I guess the play starts 19 seconds. Either way. And again, remember, we took this timeout after an incomplete pass where the clock was not running for whatever reason. Somehow we were not prepared for this hurry-up situation, even though we had like no distance really to go comparatively to others in a 2-minute situation. Once again, we fail in a 2-minute situation. We end up with 12 men on the field for this field goal that we make. And yeah, 12 men on the field again. Another substitution infraction penalty that costs us points. And again, a 3rd straight trip to the red zone, 0 points. Arguably, at that point, you could be, even keeping the first field goal, you could be 17, 20, 24. Heck, if you do something else with that Jaden Ball play rather than telegraph it, you could potentially be up 28-0 at the half. We're up 3-0, and that's why I think it was frustrating. It's not that we couldn't have done better or that both teams as a defensive struggle and we pulled out 3 points. It's that 3 times we were inside the 20 and we got 0 points. That is awful. That is absolutely terrible, and that cannot happen. And then we get the ball after the half. Again, a chance where we could extend the lead. 3 plays, -7 yards, and a punt. Luckily, defense holds out 3 and out for Tennessee. And I'll say when we punted like that, I'm like, oh, here come the Tennessee fans. And they're really getting into it. But that 3 and out kind of kept them out at that point. Then Graham Mertz leads an excellent 9-play, 92-yard touchdown drive, which ends in his last attempt as a Gator. And yeah, 10-0, which was all right. Followed by, Tennessee scoring. Then DJ Lagway has the unfortunate, pass. Then we turn it over on downs. And again, at this point, it's 10-10. You're at the Tennessee 39. You're kind of giving them a short field. I don't know why we didn't play field position at this point, and maybe someone else has a reason for it. But with how well your defense had been playing, I mean, heck, even when we give it the field goal to make it 10-10, they were in a bad position, only allowed 3 yards. So I don't know when you're on the Tennessee and it's 4th and 3, and we run a slant, which is one of the go-to staples of our 4th down under Billy Napier. Not a well-thrown slant, but still. I personally, with how your defense played, I'd try and pin them inside the 20, and then maybe again you get a big return from DK, or you just fair catch it and you're already in Tennessee territory and you can pick up where you left off. Again, the defense only allows 2 yards, does an excellent job. And then next drive, 3 and out, delay of game penalty. And this was after running the ball twice, which equaled into just a net 0 at that point. And then Tennessee, 2 plays, 29 yards for a touchdown. After, we punt it and they get a big return. And kind of like what I said, give the short field. Well, on that, and again, just think about it. If we play field position on that one where Tennessee punts it, we get the ball at our own. But hold on. We get the ball at our own 6 after Tennessee gains 2 yards. And then they punt it. We get the ball at our own 6. We end up punting from our own 3. Imagine if instead of going for it on 4th down, we punt and put them inside their 5, have our defense do what they've been doing, and then instead of Tennessee getting the 2-play, 29-yard touchdown drive, Florida could get the 29, 30, 40-yard touchdown drive and go up 17-10. But that's, of course, not what happens. The next drive, again, we go 3 and out. Then Tennessee goes 3 and out. Then we go 4 plays and punt. Tennessee goes 3 and out. And again, our defense is playing lights out. Credit to our defense. And we'll talk about them a little bit more. And then Florida, 4 plays, 31 yards. Again, what I'm talking about with field position, we get field position off of a great return by DK. And let me just look up how much it was. 27-yard return by DK. And we end up getting 4 plays, 31 yards for a touchdown, and a great throw by DJ Lagway to tie that up. And, of course, a great catch by DK. Set it up with his punt return, got the touchdown to tie the game. Game ends, goes to overtime. We roll out to the short side. Not the best throw. Well covered. on first down, and then we get a false start, and then we run a screen pass for a loss of 5 yards. So now it's 3rd and 20. And then we just run the ball and miss a field goal. And I'm getting tired of missed field goals in big situations as well, especially after we had one taken off the board, which again, let's put that 3 points that came off the board at the end of the second half. It's a 20-17 game at the end of the game. If everything goes how it was. Now I want to talk about the touchdown. A lot of people, there's debate whether we should have gone for 2 or not. And I'll tell you this, at that point, when we almost went for 2 and then we didn't, Florida had forced in the 3 of the last 4 drives were 3 and outs for Tennessee. The other one was a 2-play, 29-yard touchdown drive. Our defense had been playing lights out all night. I would have rather gone to OT than trust the offense that had been having some questionable play calling throughout the night in a 2-point situation, because I thought, hey, you know what's better? A 50-50 shot. We get the ball second. Defense holds them to a field goal. Now we know what we're playing for. Of course, we lose the coin toss. We're on offense first. Kick the field goal, miss it. At that point, the game, for all intents and purposes, is over unless we hold Tennessee to a field goal and they miss, or we get a turnover, and instead Tennessee in 5 plays scores a touchdown and we lose. But I personally, and I know, tell me in the comments if you disagree, but I personally, based on the defense performance, I did not want to put the result of that game solely in the offense's hand based on how they have been playing at that point, which is hilarious to say because of how bad this defense has been at times. But in this game, they were great. And before we get into the defense a little bit more, and man, I didn't realize how long I've gone on this on the offense. But before we do, I want to give my friends a shout out at GatorChatter.com. Lots of fun discussion going on over there as usual, including what I'd say is now a running gag, and that's the imminent firing of Billy Napier thread, as imminent was said back in A&M, and here we are. So I think it's a running joke, but there's lots of fun going on in that thread, among others. GatorChatter.com, your Florida Gator sports bar. And so I've said a lot about the defense as I went through the play drive-by-drive. And the reason I wanted to go through the drive-by-drive is because, well, the way this game goes, it's easy to say we were underdogs. We were supposed to lose by, 16 points or whatever the thing was. And we lost in overtime. That's good. I'm not taking that moral victory because of the opportunities we had, because of the coaching decisions that were made. Again, if this were 2 defenses that were shutting down each other's offenses and things weren't happening, that's one feel. But 3 drives in the red zone and not getting points, a decision to go for it when we didn't have to, when you could have put Tennessee deep and potentially given yourself a short field based on how, at that point, your defense had been playing really well. I just don't get it. But for the defense, guys, I want to shout out because they really need. Jaden Robinson, terrific game. Led the team with 7 tackles, 4 solo, 1.5 sacks. Jack Pyburn, also 7 tackles, half a tackle for loss. Did really well. And I'll say this, more Pyburn has equaled a little bit better defense these last few games as he's gotten a little bit more of, run. But Jason Marshall targeted 2 times, gave up 0 catches. So good on him. Like, there were lots of good defensive performances. Pop Howard was solid again. Cole Kubelik of SEC Network, very big praise on both Cam Jackson, Caleb Banks, both who ended up with 5 tackles, each with half a tackle for loss. George Gums, half a sack. lots of good things. And of course, Jordan Castell getting a pass deflection and Sharif Denson getting that interception with 20-yard return to hopefully set up what would be a score before the half. Of course, that didn't happen. But again, good play from him. I've said a lot about the defense so far, so I'm not going to keep you a little bit extra longer as we try and be one of the shorter podcasts here. But what I want to say is, if you would have told me that Florida would get, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, let me make sure, 4, 5, 6 plays of 4 or less and out for this game, I would have thought you're insane. So definitely credit to the Gators, the defensive staff, for giving it all, giving us a shot. And maybe, as the season goes on, it looks like Tennessee isn't the team we thought they were. And maybe that happens. But still, to do this on the night or in a night game in Neyland, great job by the defense. I think that coaching let this team down with some of these head-scratching decisions. And I know there are people saying, well, fumble on the goal line is not the coach's fault. No, that's not a bad call by the coaches. However, some of the fourth down calls definitely were. Some of them play calling, overly conservative when you're on the road and you need everything. The field goal mess up again, costing us points, which we've seen against Arkansas and other teams. And that's just frustrating. So again, shout out to the defense who I talked about, while talking about the offense, but specifically want to shout out Robinson and Denson and Pup Howard, who had a great game. Also, Big Des Watson, PFF has them as their number 5 rated defender, and Cameron James rated at number 3 for his 26 snaps, which is about the same as Denson and Robinson. Overall, pretty good, scoring over 75. So, again, frustrating night in Neyland. Hopefully there are things with this defense to work on. Really stinks that we lost Graham Mertz. Don't want to lose him for sure, but unfortunately, it's what's happening. And again, hopefully recovery goes well. Hopefully this isn't the last time he plays football and he's able to get some opportunities after this, whether it's the NFL or whether it's, go through the CFL or XFL route or whatever it is and make it to the NFL. Good luck to him with whatever that route may be. Now it'll be interesting how we go. We'll talk about what I see possibly coming with DJ Lagway as now the full-time starter at quarterback when we preview Kentucky. With that said, I'm constantly amazed at people listening to this podcast and some of the numbers I see. So really, thank you all for listening. And as always, go Gators.